Yeah, good morning, one and all. So please confirm, audience, my voice is audible or not. Good morning, all of you. Yes, thank you, sir. Welcome to the day 7, webinar number 10. So APSDC is
Yeah,
organizing.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Good
ఓకే
morning, ma'am.
అంతేనా సార్? కానీ ఇది నేను ల్యాప్టాప్ పైన వేయాలంటే ఎట్లా? ఇప్పుడు ఫోన్ లో వచ్చింది ఇది. ల్యాప్టాప్ లో అవుతుంటే అవనివ్వట్లేదు.
Yes, uh, welcome to the webinar number 10. So, in the panic situation, APSDC organizing plenty of the programs for the students as well as the faculty. So, as a part of unlocking skills, APSDC organizing in collaboration with NSDC, we are organizing the webinar series. So, today is the webinar number 10 and 11. Today morning session, it is related to the employability skills and sustainability, and afternoon one more session is there in collaboration with industrial servers. We're organizing one more program on innovation engineering fields and cyber security. Okay, the resource person, before take the class, I just few minutes I'm explaining about the AP skill development activities. So regarding, I think most of the members already know about the Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation. So yeah, I'm just presenting small presentation regarding the skill development activities. So Andhra Pradesh State Skill Development Corporation, this is one of the government body organization. It comes under government of Andhra Pradesh. So APSDC conducting many of the programs for the students as well as unemployed youth. Coming to the students, we are established nearly we covered the 427 schools through Naipunya Vikasam. In the Naipunya Vikasam, we are giving the students, for especially from KG to up to intermediate students, we have covered the basic communication skills and basic IT skills, and we are established 525 employability skill development centers in degree colleges. In this center, the training on CRT and as well as base and advanced of the technical skills like Python, C programming, Java, and Tally courses. And coming to the engineering, as of now we are covered 274 engineering colleges. In that nearly 101 centers are the same same skill development centers, and 59 are the Desol centers and 40 are the Siemens centers also there. And coming for the unemployed youth, especially, we are collaborated with different training centers. We are establishing nearly in Andhra Pradesh road, nearly more than 500 plus centers also available for especially for unemployed youth. And coming to the this today team, the main theme of the unlocking skills. Today, actually, in the panic situation, the most of the students are uh, very in some decreasing mode. That's why we are organizing in collaboration with National Skill Development Corporation. We are organizing the webinar series. This is the skill competition. I think most of the members maybe know about the wild skills. So the people are called the World Skill Olympics also. This is the one of the biggest good platform to show your skills in the world level. So as a part, the NSDC organizing the India skill competition in India level. So coming to the Team India performance in the world level, actually in first time the 2011, the India participated in the World Skills competition. At the time, 48 countries are participated. The India rank is 39th position, and in 2013 also India has participated in World Skills competition. At the time, 47 countries is participated. India rank is 33rd position. Coming to the 2019, the recently is completed in Russia. At that time, 63 countries have participated, and the India rank is 13th position. So at that time, India got the total 19 medals. One is on first medal. India first time got the gold medal on water technology, and one silver medal on web technology, and two bronze medals, jewelry and graphic design technology, and similarly got the 15 medallion of excellence awards also. So at that time, India ranking is 13th position. So these are the some of the picks of the world skills competition. These are the some Indian youngsters, they got the champions of the world skills. And Coming to the India skills journey in Andhra Pradesh journey in the India skills, totally initially the Andhra Pradesh participated in India skill competition on 2018. So at that time AP got the four medals. One is on refrigeration and air conditioning, one is on mobile robotics, one is on ITSSB, that is the bronze medal, and one more is medallion of excellence IT software solution for business. So at the time AP got the four medals. Similarly this year also, as a part of India skills 2020 and world skills 2021, AP already started the registrations on APSSDC started the registrations on world skills state skill competition. So accordingly, nearly 16,700 people are registered. It is the highest number. This is the highest members in registered in throughout the world. Sorry, throughout India. Second highest position, highest registration. Similarly, zonal level competitions are conducted in more than 300 plus locations in throughout Andhra Pradesh. So at the time we are shortlisting 5,600 members for the zonal level competition, and again we're conducting divided into the four zones. One is the Visakhapatnam, Vijayawada, Tirupati, and Anantapur. Again we are conducting zonal level competitions. Again we are filtering into the 300 members for the state level competition. Due to panic situation, the state level competitions are we are waiting for the NSDC norms. Once they have given the suggestions, immediately we're planning for state level competitions also. And this is the this year we're participating in 27 trades. So as a total 16,000 registrations will be happen for these 27 trades. So for again for any more info or anything else, just visit our website at www.apssdc.in. And for any other info regarding the world skills, visit our world skills India or apsdc.in website. Thank you everyone. Thank you for participating in this webinar series. uh, I think Rosie is also there. Uh, just Before handovering the session, I'm just giving the briefing about the resource person. Rosie, Rosie ma'am, 23 years of experience in the industry and academia, and Cambridge certified trainer for BEC Higher Cambridge British Council of India and IELTS trainer also, and certified IUCE International Engineering Educator and Infosys campus trainer. And currently, ma'am is working on the CMR. Institutions in Hyderabad. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for coming forward to organizing the program, conducting the program on employability skills and sustainability. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Hello, madam. Am I audible? Hello, hello, madam. Hello, hello, madam.
Ashok,
Hello.
Ashok sir.
Madam. Murali session handout to you.
Yes, sir.
Please continue, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sure.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Mr. Ashok, Mr. Sunil, Mr. Murli sir, and everyone who is behind this event. So, am I audible? Just to check once before we move on.
Audible, ma'am.
Audible, right, right, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving on with today's session on employability and sustainability. Okay, so first, let us understand what is employability. Can anyone, sir, can we make it an interactive session? Do students have access to speak? Ashok, sir?
Am I audible, ma'am? Tell me.
Yeah, do students have access to speak, sir? In the middle of the session, if we want to make it an interactive session.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, right. So
Okay.
we are not going to just sit and listen, but we are going to have an interactive session because I just don't want you all to be a part of this event just by sitting. I want your participation, I want your involvement. Sir, is the screen visible? Is my screen visible? Is it visible, the screen?
Visible, madam.
Screen is visible. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, good. So we move on with today's event. Now, can anyone tell me what is employability? First, we are talking about employability skills and sustainability. First, let us have a clear understanding of what is employability, and then we are going to move ahead with
Okay,
what
okay.
is
Yes.
sustainability. Can anyone tell me what are employability skills and why do we need these skills? Anyone? Okay. Okay. You can unmute yourselves and you can speak, or maybe fine, I'll just go ahead with the session. Okay. So now I put up a few from the list of employability skills because we cannot discuss all the skills in a 2-hour session. So, the first thing that is most important and needed for employability skills is good communication skills. Then we have motivation, leadership skills, teamwork, adaptability, and learning agility. Today, we are going to talk only about these 6 skills and how are these skills going to help a person be employable, we are going to see. Now, you're all aware of India's skills report. Every year they have been generating for the past few years. Now, according to India's skills report of 2019, the most preferred skills that employers look ahead to hire from candidates are 3. One is communication skills, second is adaptability, and the third is learning agility. And while selecting candidates, they felt if a person does not have these skills, then they are not industry ready. When we talk about a person being industry ready, we should know the role good communication skills play because this has been put on top of the list compared to adaptability and learning agility. Now, why are good communication skills really important? Are they important? Are they not important? So, when we talk to a person, whether it's an interview or whether it is in our day to day life, we have to open our mouth to communicate. When we open our mouth to communicate, the global language today has become English. Now, whatever part of the country that we go to, we need to communicate. And we cannot say, I know Hindi, I know Telugu, I know Tamil, I know Malayalam, and these are going to help me suffice. In fact, language is not enough to communicate at all. Now, how do you ask your mom for food even without talking? You can do gestures. So, is language really important? At home, where people can understand, where people are known to us, we can communicate with them through gestures. But is it really possible in a global scenario? At a workplace, while traveling, in a bus, or at an interview? Is it really important to communicate without opening our mouth? I don't think so. So, what should we do? Now, imagine a situation wherein you're traveling by bus and you meet a person who does not understand your regional language or your mother tongue. So, what are you going to do? Now, if there is something really like an emergency, you have to communicate. So, this is where English language comes into the picture. Now, why is English language given so much of importance? It is because it is considered to be the global language. Language wherein many words have been borrowed from various sources, various languages. Now, there are so many words which have been borrowed into English, but they do not belong to English. So, there are some Chinese words, some Arabic words, some Parsi words, some Italian words, some French words which have entered into our language or into this global language. Now, for instance, if you take the legalities concerned, or if you talk about a word like a criminal or an offense, or this person is convicted or acquitted, most of these legal terms have entered into English from Latin. Okay, so similarly, we have so many French words. The very word we use, cafe, or the most important word we use, that is resume. Many people get this pronunciation wrong. They call it as resume, resume. Now, resume is also spelled as resume, but with an accent on it, just like how we write cafe, cafe. Now, till coffee day came into our country, I don't think people knew the pronunciation of cafe. They would pronounce it as cave. So it is not cave, it is cafe coffee day. Why? Why should we call it as cafe? Why not cave? Because it has been, originated, or it is originated from a French term. Okay, so we have to pronounce. And resume also is a French word meaning a short biodata. So we have to understand all these minute concepts of the language when it comes to interview. At least the terminology or the words that we use at the interview place or at the workplace. Now, there is another important reason why we should learn to communicate in English. Now, imagine you are very, fortunate. You get into a job, okay, but later you realize that you're working with some foreigners, you're working with some people who cannot understand your regional language. What do you do? Do you stop communicating with them just because you do not know English? That is not going to happen. So, it is important for cracking interviews successfully because your resume will not do all the talking. There are so many students who approach people like us to write their resume. You must have observed on portals like Naukri.com and Monster.com, which offer resume writing services. I'm sure you all are aware of it. So, when portals like Naukri and Monster.com get these things, they ask you to pay anywhere between 5 to 8,000 to get your resume written. Okay, so what do these portals do? They approach people like us when we write resume for a student. Now, the unfortunate situation is when we write resume for someone, the student doesn't even bother to take a look. He's so confident that, yes, I got my resume written from a wonderful source and I'm going to get this interview done. But let me tell you all, your resume is just a supplement. It will reach the interviewer before you reach. And nowadays, I'm sure you're all aware, they ask you to keep a passport size photo or a stamp size photo on your resume. Why do they do that? They would like to see what kind of a candidate they're going to interact with. That doesn't mean looks matter, but they are just curious to know that they do not mismatch you with somebody else. So, if this is the scenario that happens before you reach the interview, they read your resume and come to an understanding. They get to know that, okay, this person's resume is this, he has this, and this skills. Now, once I talk, I am going to finalize. Now, if these are the expectations of the interviewer that has seen your resume, what do we do? There are so many students who do not open their mouth and talk during the interview process. They feel, okay, I've got a very good resume. I don't have to answer the questions. Now my resume is going to sell me. No, your resume will not sell you. It is you who has to do all the talking. It is you who has to convince the interviewer that, see, from the 100 or odd people, or from the so many odd people that have come for interviews, I am the best. So that confidence you have, it can do wonders. Now, how will you tell the interviewer that, yes, see, this certificate belongs to me? What is the assurance? Maybe the certificate is given by an university of repute, or the certificate even has your photo on it. But what is the assurance? How will you tell him that through these 3 years or 4 years of education, what have you learned? So it is really important for us to open our mouth and communicate with confidence. See, confidence is the most important thing even before communication skills. Your communication skills also will come second, but your confidence is very, very important. So now the next important thing that most of the students panic about is fluency or accuracy. If I speak fluent English, is it good enough? Or should I speak accurate English? Now, what is fluency? Fluency is talking a language without many pauses, gaps, or having a continuous long sentence. You don't break in the middle. Then what is accuracy? Accuracy is speaking flawless grammar. That is, your grammar has no errors. All your sentences are well structured. Your articles are in place. Prepositions are in place. Your verbs are in place. Everything is perfect. You use good vocabulary in your sentences. Now tell me one thing. If you are accurate, is it okay that you're not fluent? Now, there are many people who are very accurate in grammar, in English grammar. But if they talk slowly, putting all their words together, will it really matter to the interviewer because you're speaking accurately? No. Here, fluency takes a top seat. Why? Because in that little time that you get in front of the interviewer, you know, you have to project to him, as we have already discussed, that you are the best person that he is looking for. So speak fluently, be confident, and the rest will take care of itself. So definitely I would say fluency. Now, if a person is fluent, is there a possibility that he is wrong somewhere? Definitely. No person is perfect on earth. And there are so many students who say, first I'll become perfect, ma'am, in language, then I'll speak. And trust me, that day will never come. Only if you can speak, that fluency is going to get to you, because fluency has nothing to do with accuracy. Yes, it helps in fluency because what are the structures of the sentences. It does help you, but Accuracy is something, which can be learned over a period of time. You don't have to become accurate in just little time, but definitely fluency first. So let us see a short video on what is effective communication. I would really appreciate if you all are, interacting with me. So after the video, let us see if anyone has anything to share. There you go. So, what did we just see? Would anyone like to share your thoughts on it? What you have just seen? Anyone? Okay, I do not know whether you're all having access to speak, to put your sentences across. So, uh, we will move on with the next slide. So now the point is, are good communication skills important at workplace? Now imagine you have joined the workplace, you got a job, you projected confidence, you had fluency, you had all the things needed. Maybe you even had a reference for your job, you know the MD well, or there's someone working at your place. At that place already you got a job. Now, are good communication skills important at workplace? They are definitely important. You don't need good communication skills only to get job, but they are very much important to work effectively and be productive. Now tell me, how do you all feel when you wear a new dress? When you're wearing something new on a birthday or on a festival or some important occasion. There's a wedding in the family. So, how do you all dress up? How do you feel? You feel so happy when someone says, "Wow, you look so good, your dress is so nice." So, the same thing you feel when someone says, "Wow, you have done such a good job." Yes, and you're being so productive. You are going to be the employee of the month, and you're going to get this many stars, because these are all things done at the corporate level to encourage people to work more effectively and productively. The second thing is, it increases the morale of a person. Any person who feels he can communicate will get that confidence. That confidence can do wonders for you. So, with that confidence, your communication skills, and your productivity, you're going to work efficiently and you're going to become a committed employee. And committed employees, what will happen? Sooner or later, they're always recognized. Next, we create open communication lines just to earn trust. When a person communicates well, now imagine I'm communicating well with my superiors or my boss or my higher authorities, then that communication develops a kind of trust. And that trust comes because of the hard work, and you're trying to communicate how well you have done that hard work. So communication skills are really important. And as we have already seen, language is not just a barrier. Now in the video, we have just seen that, the other animals go to the bear and they say, am I on your list? So the bear communicates and tells, yes, you're on the list. But they never bother to communicate, can you take me off the list? But the rabbit does. So in all the three animals that we have seen, the rabbit has projected effective communication. All that it takes at your workplace or to survive on earth in this life is effective communication. Now, the employees who communicate effectively with their colleagues, managers, they become valuable assets. A person would never want to let you go because you're so good, you communicate so efficiently. Now, when employees have an opportunity to express their ideas openly, what happens? They do not have that fear. Okay, they do not have anything that stops them. So this confidence again leads to be innovative. Now, because you have been on good terms with all the people in the office or in the company, and they have given you that enough freedom, or they have given you that assurance that yes, you can go ahead, and so you become creative, you become innovative, you want to do something for the company because the company is acknowledging your presence, acknowledging your hard work, acknowledging your skills. So when such people reach to the higher rungs of the ladder, that is when they reach higher positions, they manage their teams better. And you all know very well the difference between a leader and a manager. We will see in one of the future videos. So it also results in, um, you know, creating effective teams once you reach there, right? So moving on, so you have seen one video on communication and how important communication can be in your life. We are moving to the second aspect of today's employability skills. That is motivation. Now, did you all know there are two types of motivation? Is motivation really needed? Every person on earth needs motivation. Now, if you're doing something, now imagine your kids, if you all have kids at home, or you can imagine your siblings at home, or you can go back down the memory lane and recollect your childhood memories, or if you have any nephews, nieces, neighboring kids, you see, children get very curious when you say, you do this, I'll give you a chocolate. So what is the motivation over there? A chocolate. Or your dad says, you crack first, you crack 90% or 80%, you'll get a new iPhone, you'll get a tablet, you'll get this, you'll get that. So all these are a type of motivation. We cannot directly call them motivation, but there is something that keeps us going because there is some reward associated with it. So, but is always a reward associated with motivation? Let us see. There are two types of motivation basically. First one is intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation comes from within. We decide to do something because we are interested in it and enjoy doing that. That is, something within us tells us that yes, you can do it. You do it. You do it because you love it. You do it because you enjoy doing that thing. So this is really, really important, and motivation plays a very important role when you take up jobs or when you get into any educational institutions. Now, there are so many people um, who take up a course because their parents want them to take up that course. They have no interest whatsoever. They have nothing to do with that course. They never had any kind of interest in doing that course, or they do not want to make a career in that course. But because to satisfy their parents, or maybe because that is the trend going on, peer pressure, all my friends joined this course, so let me go and join this course. So that is not intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is something we do because we have an interest in it, because we enjoy doing that thing. Then the other one should be extrinsic motivation. We do something because we are told to do something. Someone says, do this. Oh, you are going to become this thing. You are going to become that thing. I'll give you an award. I'll give you a reward. I'll give you a promotion. If you do this, I'm going to take you in my team. Or if you do this, I'll make you a team leader. So that is extrinsic motivation. Sometimes extrinsic motivation also works because there is a reward attached to it, and we do things, maybe we like it, maybe by force, but the bottom line is things are done. Okay, so there are two types of motivation. You choose what type of motivation you have within yourself, or how you get motivated. Let us watch a small video related to motivation. Okay, so this video really inspires me a lot because we have seen all the struggles this poor girl had to go through. And is it her fault? No, it is not her fault. She didn't ask anyone to make her like that. But, she did not give up in life. She faced a lot of troubles. And, there are even days when people told, why don't you put a gun to your head? In short, why don't you kill yourself? You are so ugly, you don't deserve to live. But nothing stopped her. You know what she did? She motivated herself. It was an intrinsic motivation that helped her. So she came up with three things to do in her life. She is still a motivational speaker. Many corporates call her to give a lecture. She looks like that, but she is an amazing speaker. The second thing is she has already published her first book. She has already published her second book. Lizzie Beautiful and Be Beautiful, Be You, both are published now. She has graduated college now, and see how she felt she's going to arrange the world. Is the world a better place? We cannot say. Is it a good place for everyone? We do not know. But one thing that she decided for herself is, I am going to prove these people that this is not what I'm born for. I'm not born just to take tantrums, just to take difficult words from people. I'm born for something else. And this thing motivated her, and she's a very successful person today. She has to eat every 20 minutes, otherwise, she will die. She has this rare syndrome, a disease which only three people in the world have till now, as you have already seen in the video. So, nothing should stop us from going ahead. Nothing should stop us from achieving what we want to achieve. We don't wait for someone to come and tell, yes, you can do this, yes, you do this. Yes, we have to motivate ourselves. There will be times there are low, there will be times wherein we feel there is no help of what am I even doing on earth. But that is where we should not lose faith. This motivation can take you to heights of fame. Okay, so moving on to the third important employability skill is leadership skill. Now, there is a big debate as to, are leaders born or leaders made? It depends on your answer. I wish if you can answer some of these questions even at the end of the session, I would be very happy. So, are leaders born or are leaders made? Now, you tell me, what are they? Some say they are born to become leaders because they are born with a certain skills. But I say a person can become a leader anytime he chooses to be. You don't have to be born. When you're born, you don't even know. Someone gives you a name, someone feeds you, someone brings you up, someone puts you in an educational institution. So that shouldn't affect. If you are determined within, you can become a leader. So let us see some skills that make good leaders. Now, strategic thinking. Now, good leaders always have strategic thinking. They have a vision. They know where to go. They know how to get things done. Okay. So they know whom to approach, how to approach, what path to choose, and whom to rely on. So this strategic thinking takes people to heights. That's the first skill a good leader should have. The second is planning and delivery. Now, the planning should not be just confined to our dreams. Many people, while sleeping, they plan, I'm going to do this. Now, you can take a very good example of this when people make New Year resolutions. See, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do this from this year. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to put in more effort. I'm going to get a job that can pay me this much by the end of this year. Or I'm going to complete graduation. I'm going to complete a book. I'm going to publish a paper. Whatever you decide, resolutions, some people stick on to them. Some people even make resolutions. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to make so many friends. I'm going to change myself from these old habits. I'm going to wake up early. So these are all plans. But leaders put these plans into actions. They deliver whatever they have promised to themselves or to others. So, how do you plan? How do you deliver? So, you need to have a vision, you need to have a goal for yourself. How you are planning, what is the path that can make your plan into a success? So, this is really important. The next important thing that good leaders need is people management. Now, many people misunderstand this word. When we say people management, they feel they can get things done because of their position. But let me tell you all, the position is not permanent. So the tables may turn tomorrow. You may become a person to be in a lower position, and that person, because of his hard work, perseverance, and maybe because of all the effort that he has put in over a period of time, may take him somewhere, and that person still is in the same position, that stagnant at that place. So we should never think that we can get our things done because we have authority. Because we have authority, we can command people, we be rude to people, we are harsh to people, we exploit their weakness. These are not leadership skills. These skills will not help you survive in an organization. Maybe initially we think that we have reached success, but ultimately, these skills will not help you sustain the position that a person is in. So you need to have the right people. You need to have a positive work environment around you. You need to have good people around you. You need to make good people around you. Now, how do we make good people? How do we have good people around us? We have good people because of our good communication skills. Now, when I say communication skills, don't just misunderstand it for English skills. It is more than that. Under communication, you get verbal communication, non-verbal communication, eye contact, gestures, posture. There's so many things to it. But when I mean communication, whatever language you're trying to say, if the person you are talking to is able to understand you, if the receiver has understood your motive, then you have made an effective communication. So, when we are managing people, we need people around us. We need people who can do things for us because they love us, not because we are forced to do, or not because They feel that, my God, if I don't listen to this person, they are going to tarnish my image. They're going to bad mouth about me to my boss. Now, these skills will not help a person move up the ladder. When we are talking about moving up the ladder, we are talking about hierarchical skills. And there are so many people who have moved up the ladder. But let me tell you, there is something called conscience. Conscience is something, that is deep within our mind, which tells, no, you're not doing the right thing, or you're doing the right thing. And ultimately, we have to remember that we are all answerable for our actions one day or the other. So when we talk about people management, when with a set of people that we have, you find the right people, motivate them as a leader, not threaten them, and you tell them this is the vision that we all have to work for. Then there is change management. You know, uh, Change management is something, the world is so unpredictable. Now, we never imagined there would be a situation like, like this, wherein a virus is going to outbreak in the whole world, affect people, where people do not have that leisure to walk out of their doors thinking that they might be affected with the virus. So, change management, we should be willing for change. And this is where many companies, they have adopted this change management system. You know, Stanford has conducted an experiment related to this change management, that is, design thinking. When we talk about design thinking, they felt, what is design thinking? Thinking out of the box, thinking creatively, coming up with a possible solution for every problem. Now, which solution is successful? A solution that is viable, that is a solution which can be implemented with very less cost, a solution which is accepted by most of the people, and a solution which is, really helpful for most of the people. These are the three things that are involved under this. And Stanford, it conducted an experiment thinking MBA graduates are going to be very successful in this experiment. But they were wrong. They were totally wrong, because the MBA department, which was supposed to come up with a solution for the problem, or because they are all taught about all this, how to design, or how to manage, how to come up with the solution, they did not pass this test. The first people were a set of labor, masons who were doing construction work, and the second, the people who stood second were children between the age group of 9 and 14. These children didn't even have basic education. So, design thinking, what I'm trying to tell through this is anybody can create that change, and we should be open for changes. Now, what did the world think when we had First World War? You know, uh, the League of Nations was formed after the First World War, and then we thought League of Nations is going to stop the world from all further wars. But did it become a reality? No, because the League of Nations was a failure. Why was it a failure? The world had to experience a Second World War. Now, after the Second World War, the organization called United Nations Organization, or the UNO, was formed. Now, can we say UNO is successful? Successful till now, but will it be successful forever? We cannot predict. Are there not going to be changes after this COVID situation? We cannot predict, but we should be prepared for a change. We should be prepared for the things that no one can predict. So, this is where design thinking comes into the picture. And in change management, a leader should recognize, respond, and manage changes according to the vision and the team that he has got. That makes him a good leader. Then, of course, we have already seen how communication becomes one of the important leadership skills only when you open your mouth and communicate. Where now, as we have already discussed, you do not communicate by threat or force, you communicate telling them that this is the essence of this. This is why you have to talk about this. This is why you have to do this work. And this is not a work that you're doing for me. This is a work for, the organization or the company. This is for everyone's good. If we are all successful in this work, if we all come up with this design, if we all come up with a new vehicle that runs without fuel, for instance, in automobile industry, maybe that would be a breakthrough in innovation. So we all need to communicate, but that communication should be mutual. So it should not be, my God, this person is saying let me do this. Okay, so that will become again an extrinsic motivation, or it could directly mean a threat. Okay, then the last skill that is needed for a leader to move ahead is persuasion and influence. A leader has to persuade. Now you have given your team a task. Okay, you cannot say, okay, I'm going to forget about this task, because you need to persuade things. You have to check from time to time. You have to see whether they have done this thing, whether how far they have done, what problems are they facing, and then you have to pitch in as a leader to help them if needed. So, and the leader will influence them through his words, through his deeds, through his leadership skills, to tell people that yes, this is what we have to do. This is our vision. This is our goal. This is what we have to do. So these are all the skills that a good leader needs. Now, if you have any of these skills, you are already a leader. If you do not have these skills, you can always, incorporate these into your life. You can definitely become a leader. And I don't believe leaders are born, but leaders are made. So let us watch a small video in this regard on leadership skills, and you will love this video. So that was a short video to tell you the difference between a manager and a leader. A manager gets things done. He accepts the status quo. But a leader, he makes things happen. He challenges the status quo. Okay. So that is the third point that we have discussed on employability skills. Moving on. The next one is team building. I hope in one of the earlier sessions you already encountered this team building. So we are not going to plunge deep into it, but maybe we'll understand it better through video. Now, what is teamwork? So, when a group of people come together with a common purpose and they complete a given task in an effective and efficient way, that is team building. Now, why should teams be built? Now, what is the importance of teamwork? Now, let us see. You all must be working in teams. When we talk about teams, you must be remembering about your school teams, wherein you played games and sports together. In chess and caroms, you have a team. In caroms, you have a team of either two players or you play alone. In football, you have a team. In soccer, you have a team. In cricket, you have a team. In basketball, volleyball, name anything, you have a team. Even in sports like Kho or Kabaddi, you have team. So, if you cannot say, I'm going to work like this, because that is not individual work. Now, as a team, you are success. Individually, maybe sometimes. Now, you can answer one of these questions by the end of the session. In every team, now in the Indian cricket team, you take, there are few people who have uh, earn more popularity than others. And in soccer, you take football, you take baseball or basketball. In every sport or every game, there are some people who have reached those fame. That doesn't mean they do not have teamwork. Along with doing teamwork, they have individually contributed to something more that takes them to those heights of fame. Okay, so in such things in an organization, you cannot say individually I'm going to be successful, because everyone's success talks about the success of the organization. Individually, yes, a person is definitely rewarded for his hard work, but by the end of the day, it's collectively teamwork. Now, we cannot say, I am not going to talk to these people because they do not belong to, my community, my area, my background, my country. We cannot say. When we're working for an organization, we all have a common goal. We are working for the organization. So, when we step out of the house, leave your ego in the house. Leave your ego within the four walls. So step out of the house, go to your workplace, be humble, be good to everyone, work together in a team, and once you're back home by the end of the day, wear all your ego with pride. You know, that is not going to harm you. But at workplace, these things are very, very important. You cannot say individually I will be successful. Now, when we talk about all the big leaders in the world, people who have been successful entrepreneurs, they did not become successful because they individually put an effort. All these people, you take the people who have created Google, the people who have created Microsoft, or the person who has created these Apple technologies or whatever. See, single-handedly, no one is successful. There is a huge team behind their success. So we have to learn to work in teams. We cannot say, I am an introvert, I cannot share my thoughts with people. Why should I work with these people? Because by the end of the day, it is a collective work. Though each person is individually paid as salaries, by the end of the day, it is collective work that really helps. So let us watch a small video associated with team building. Okay, 1 second. So that was a wonderful video demonstrating teamwork. So without others' help, we cannot coexist, we cannot survive. So we cannot say individually, I have done all this. There are so many people who go and give a picture to the boss saying, see, this is what I have done. But did you do that alone without your team's help? So we should never forget and always acknowledge the person who has been of help to you. Now, what are the benefits of teamwork? Why should we work in teams? Because we can have these realistic goals. Now, first thing a team should do is have realistic goals. Now, you cannot say, I'm going to fly in the air like a bird. That is not a realistic goal. But if you want to prepare an aeroplane and fly with it, that job is already done. Maybe you can modify that further. So we need to have first realistic, achievable goals that can be established for the team and the individual members. Now, who should do this? A leader or a team leader or the head should do this. They should plan realistic, achievable goals. Then they should set targets for the team or individual members, and then they should allocate or assign and then give them deadlines. Now, let me tell you, without deadlines, things are not going to work these days because people will be at their own leisure. Now, when there is a deadline, there is something urging them. There's something telling them, okay, your time is here and you have to put in effort daily a little or monthly a little or based on the target that is given. Now, when there is a team, they commit to support one another. Now, why is support needed? As we have just seen in the previous video, a single person cannot survive alone in an organization. You have to work in teams. You have to help one another. You have to acknowledge one another. Now, when you work in a team, you will know that each team, knows what the other person is doing. You will set your own priorities. You will pitch in when someone needs help, though that is not your work given. Now, there are so many people who say, okay, this work is given to me, I'm going to do this work. But when we need that help from others, will we have any person to really help us if we are not willing to help our team members? So, this is where we coexist. We should learn to coexist because we cannot work alone in an organization. And team members, they communicate. Now here again, see the importance of the word communication. If you communicate between your team, within your team, then only they will be able to open up, they'll be able to understand what you want, what your goal is, and how well or how best they can help you. Now, in this context, I would like to talk about a new word called agile. This has become a buzzword in today's corporate. Now, what is agile? Now, you say people have to work in agile teams. Now, I'll give you a good example of a house construction. I know you all must have had a house constructor, must have seen a construction. You know, if you date back to few years, it would take around 1.5 years to 2 years for a house to be complete. Because we would assign people one after the other. That is, for instance, you take first the foundation is laid, then the mason is called for foundation, then construction of pillars, then the walls, then the structure is formed. Then once the structure is formed, then you look at interiors, then the painting, all these things would go step by step. So it was a very lengthy process of construction of a house. But today, there are so many houses, a duplex house that has been constructed in 4 months' time, or maybe if the time be given, they can construct it in less than that time. And China, how in 12 days they have built up a hospital only for these COVID victims. See, there is nothing called impossible. The way I see impossible, between I and am, you just put an apostrophe. It makes I am possible. So there's no such word like impossible on earth. We have done things which are beyond our control. We have done things which people felt was not humanly possible. So definitely things are going to be possible in the future. So when we talk about agile, so now if you take, we have already discussed house construction. Once the construction starts, you already, once the structure is laid, you already call the carpenter, the electrician, the plumber. Each person goes and takes measurements and does their things. And once the structure is complete, they come and they just assemble. This is agile. And China building a hospital in 12 days is a wonderful example of agile work. Our this COVID, temporary COVID hospitals in every state, they are also part of agile work. There are so many gymnasiums, theaters, there are so many places, these public places which have been converted into temporary hospitals. So all this can be called as agile work. Now, when we are working in agile teams, we cannot say, okay, see, this is my job assigned, I'll work only in this zone. You cannot say that, because ultimately for the work to complete, every person has to communicate. So here communication breaks barriers. So we work in agile teams. Agile teams is again nothing but each person is given their individual task. At the end of the day, all the work is assembled, wherein you get a complete work. For instance, if there is a new vehicle that has come up, it doesn't need fuel to run. Okay. it just runs with air or runs with the natural things. Then what do? You give the engineering part to some person, the parts of the vehicle to be made by to some person. Now each person does it, and at the end of the day they have to be assembled. So agile has become a buzzword. Now for instance, if there is a company like Microsoft, okay, and Microsoft wants to give a project to a particular company, okay, a smaller company. Now the company cannot say, I do not have people right now, okay, and once I have this team ready, because my team are already working on other projects, once my team is ready, I'm going to take back this project. Then what will Microsoft do? It will go to some other company. If not Infosys, they will go to they'll go to Google. They'll go to there's so many companies today. They go to Mindtree. They go to any other place. So there is something called people are kept on bench. Many people are scared listening to this word in the workplace. When you're kept on a bench, that doesn't mean that you are on a temporary job and you will be fired any minute. That is a misconception. When you are kept on a bench, see, sometimes you see companies advertising, we need 400 people, 500 people. So what do? Maybe actually they just need 300. What do they do with this 140 people or 150 odd or 200 odd people that they're going to hire more? So they are kept on bench. When they are kept on bench, they don't get any work, but they are paid. They are at leisure. They do not have any work. Still, the company pays because of today's agile teams. If suddenly they get a project, a company should not say, I'm sorry, I do not have staff with me. I do not have manpower with me to do this job. So, what do? They say, soon after a task comes from a bigger company, they say, yes, we are ready to accept this challenge. We take up because all these people that are kept on bench are immediately put on that project. That doesn't mean once a project is done, they are fired. No, that is again a misconception. When a company hires you, they know that they are hiring the right candidate. If they have any bit of a doubt, even the size of a mustard seed, that this person is not the right person for the company, it's not going to do any good for the company, they are not going to hire you. Trust me on that. So once you are hired, that means they know that you are efficient, you are capable, you are worthy of it, and then you will be in the company as long as you want it to be, right? So here we talk about problem solving, the benefits of working in a team, whether it's an agile work or whether it is any corporate work or that you're working, whether it's a small company or a big company, teamwork is always there. Okay, so all this become your the benefits or the advantages of your teamwork. If you have any doubts over any of these, you can always ask questions by the end of the session. So we'll watch another video associated with teamwork now that we have discussed about teamwork. Okay, so let us see what's teamwork.
They say you're only as strong as your team is. It's so true when you look at any level of success in anything that requires any sort of team. I couldn't be who I am today and write books and become a speaker and have my nonprofit charity taking me all around the world without a team. Many people find it very difficult to understand the importance of making sure that your team actually feels like a team and that you're building them up. You can have very strong chains trying to wrap something up. But if one of those links in the chain is weak, then the whole chain breaks. It's so important that you don't just look at the bottom line and the profit or loss. You don't just look at the things you've achieved. No, we're a team. We need to help each other. We need to cover each other's backs. It's known that it's lonely at the top unless you bring your team with sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're going to do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And he's a wee heel. Now, as a team.
Okay, that was a wonderful video on teamwork. Hope that was inspiring. Now, let us see the different types of members that work in an organization. Did you all know when people hire you, sometimes there are mismatches, and that is where maybe it'll be a difficult task, a difficult decision to take for the organization. So let us quickly see the types of team members, okay, and let us analyze what kind of a team member is each one of us. Now, we are going to watch another video, and because I felt, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so a video can speak more than what we can discuss about each team member. Now, let us watch this video and decide, okay, if these are the team members available, present in the organization, where am I? What kind of a person am I? Am I in the team, or am I, one of these persons? Okay, I guess there were some technical glitches that were there while playing the video. But more or less, we have to see how much of work am I contributing to the team. Am I really a contributor, or am I really causing hindrance to the team? Now, when we talk about an organization, we cannot say, okay, I'll do this work and I'll be done with it. And if we are causing a hindrance to the organization by eliminating all the good people, that is not going to do any good to the organization, because sooner or later it is going to be recognized. So, the next thing that we are going to talk about is adaptability, because we have seen this is one of the skill set that most of the um, candidates lack when they come for interviews, and this is one of the skill set due to which most of the candidates are rejected. Now, should we be adaptable, and why is it important for us to be adaptable? Now, adaptability is a very important skill. In fact, it is one of the most important skill that people look for in a candidate. That is, the employers look for in a candidate. Now, it is really important for companies to have people, because, as we have already discussed about agile thinking, or we have already discussed about the changes that can happen in the world. So we should be prepared, we should be adaptable, we should adapt to the changing work environments. Now, you take a very good example wherein today we are all sitting at home and listening to a webinar, wherein it could have been a guest lecture at your college or at a common place where we all can gather. But gone are those days. Now, today we see conferences are held online, webinars are held online, classes are taken online. People still, nothing, the world did not stop for anyone. We have to move on. We have to learn to adapt to the growing changes, because change is not in our hands. A change like this, a climatic change, an environmental change, is definitely not in our hands. But what we can do as human beings, we can learn to adapt, we can learn to evolve. Okay, so the interviewers look for candidates who can demonstrate these skills in the professional work environment. Now, you can say, unless a person hires me, how will he know that I am adaptable? So we're going to take a look at that. They are going to ask you questions based on adaptability. And these questions are called behavioral job interview questions. Now, do you want to know what type of questions are asked in this behavioral round of interview? So they focus on your experiences, they focus on what you would do and how you would manage if a particular situation is given. But please avoid giving hypothetical answers. You are not supposed to give hypothetical answers. Now, if I ask you a question at an interview, what will you do if you become the Prime Minister of India for a day? Okay, that is a hypothetical question. Now, if a candidate answers, I'm going to provide jobs for everyone. No youth in the country is going to remain jobless if I become the Prime Minister of country. Now, this is a good answer, undoubtedly, but can he prove it to me? Can I trust him just on his word that yes, he's going to do that? Because there are many ifs and buts when we talk about this. So avoid giving hypothetical answers during interviews. Interviewers do not like those answers. Now, let us see some of job interview questions that are based on your behavior. Most of these questions start with this. So, give me an example of a situation wherein you really had a problem and how you came out of it successfully. Or tell me about a time wherein you had to make a choice and what was your decision. So, have you ever, met an alien, or have you ever been in a situation wherein a friend of yours, has asked you a lot of money, and what did you do? Or what do you do when someone asks you to do something beyond your means? Or can you describe situations wherein you were really stuck with a problem, and who has helped you, or how did you come out successfully? These are some types of behavioral job interview questions wherein we get to know, when we interview people, that through the answers we'll know, we can come to an estimate. Yes, this person is a problem solver. This person doesn't stop and he gets problems. This person doesn't blame others when he has problems. This person will do no matter what to overcome that problem. So we get to know these type of answers when we ask behavioral job interview questions. Now let us see some realistic behavioral job interview questions. Now these are all the possibilities. See, a challenging situation when you made a mistake, and please don't answer the interviewer, I've never made a mistake. That would be a big blunder. Or tell me about a time where you were in conflict with a peer and how the situation was resolved. So you can talk about school days, college days, but please don't say I was never in a conflict, because they are not looking for this kind of an answer. I'll tell you why not to give a negative answer. For instance, the interviewer asked, have you ever made a mistake? And the interviewer is trying to open a window of opportunity for you to give an answer so that he can hire you in. But you say, no, I've never made a mistake. Then he asks you another behavioral question. Can you tell me a situation wherein you want to go back in the past and change a situation, or you did something wrong? If you are given an opportunity to go back in the past, what would you do? You cannot say, I cannot go back in the past because there's no time machine. You cannot give absurd answers. See, through these questions, he's not putting you in that scenario, he's asking you to imagine that scenario. So, imagination is very wide. Use all your imagination to answer these questions. But please do not close that door that the interviewer is trying to open for you. Every opportunity the interviewer gives you, he wants you to answer so that he can choose you. He can pick you in for the job. But when you're trying to close every door that he opens, you are not. It's like sacking your own legs. You sit on the branch and you sack it down. So you're going to fall down along with the branch. So another question. So tell me how you work under pressure. You cannot say I'm a very cool person, I never work under pressure. Every person has to work under pressure. The minute you take up a job, you have to realize that you are working under pressure. There is no place where you can say I am at ease except on your weekends or holidays. So let us watch another video and we will discuss.
Imagine this scenario. You've done your research and created what you believe to be is a watertight plan. You have the people in place and you are implementing and monitoring the plan. Your boss comes to you and says he has to reassign half of your team members to another project, but you still have to get your project finished on time. Your immediate reaction might be one of great stress and anxiety. But because you know how to manage your emotions, you don't overreact emotionally to the news. We are now going to look at and give you some pointers about adaptability. What does adaptability mean in the workplace? Well, simply put, it's flexibility in handling change. Adaptability in the workplace is really important. We often experience setbacks on projects at work. Being able to quickly change or course correct allows you to get on with the bigger picture. It's also very important in negotiations as it allows you to give some ground on issues that may not be as important or urgent as others. Making an effort to apply a positive mindset when faced with new situations at work, adapting to new ways of seeing and doing things are some examples of adaptability. So how can you become more adaptable? You can be flexible, have a positive attitude, focus on the big picture, accept that there are multiple perspectives, be open to failure, and you should be able to ask for help.
So that was a short video on adaptability, and adaptability is needed today. That brings us to the last employability skill on our list today, that is learning agility. Interviewers do not hire people, candidates, if they do not have this aspect. That is the learning agility. What is learning agility? Now, we cannot say, I have completed my graduation and I have learned everything on earth and I'm not going to need anything new to learn. It's because, learning is a lifelong process. There is no end to it. We cannot say I've learned this, because tomorrow if there's a new technology that has come up and you're out of job, what will you do? You will be forced to learn a new thing, a new concept. Because that is what keeps the human beings going. If you date back to the Stone Age, there were not many facilities, or there are so many people present in the audience today who might have grown up without a television, without a laptop, without a computer, without a mobile phone, or without any of the gadgets. Now, have you saying, see, when I was born, we didn't have this, I'm not going to learn anything new. Or you take the appliances that have come up in today's life. You cannot say, because I cannot, I don't know how to, work with this technology and not work. Or if you take, I don't know, I'm very scared of a gas stove because it's going to burst, or I cannot use an oven, or I cannot use, this particular gadget. We cannot say, because we would become obsolete. People will not recognize us if we stop learning at a particular thing. So we should have willingness to learn. Now, from where do we learn? Wherever there's a possibility. There is no answer to it. You can learn from your team members, you can learn from your subordinates, you can learn from life, you can learn from your role, you can learn from your seniors, from your superiors, sometimes even nature teaches us to learn so many things. So what we are supposed to do as good human beings, we should be open for learning. We cannot say. Now, I'll tell you a very good example of the interview questions that are asked here. They ask you, are you willing to be flexible? Now, that is a personal question, of course. But before you go on the job description, it is already there. They want people who are flexible. What do we mean by flexible? Flexible in the sense, a person who is ready to take up a day shift or night shift. Now, you cannot say, after going to the interview, wasting his time and your precious time, saying, no, I'm not willing to. So if you're not willing to, if you're not ready to be a little bit of flexible, see, I will not say this would be a common scenario with everyone, because there will be some people who have come up from some family backgrounds wherein they do not want their children to work or take up a night shift. Okay, that is fine. But there will be some people who are not open for any change. If they say you are asked to go to Chennai or Vizag for a week's training program, they say, no, I cannot, because I've never traveled. My family will never let me travel alone. See, there are many things. When a company is sending you on something, don't you think they have taken care of your security or of all your things that you will be needing over there? Or when the person asks you, Now 2 years down the lane, if you're asked to become, if you're given a promotion and if you are asked to move, will you be willing to move? There will be some people who have reasons. They cannot say, I cannot leave my aged parents, or I'm the only son. If I go away, there's no one who is going to take care, or my parents have health issues, or whatever reasons. See, your reasons may be genuine, but before you reach an interview, after reading the job description that is commonly called as a JD, you should be in a position to know what you need, what the company expects, and whether you're willing to make these few sacrifices. So definitely, success comes with a price. It is hard work, it is perseverance, sometimes it is a little bit of sacrifice also. So it is very important when hiring candidates, because how will a person know that he has this learning agility? Now this is again a behavioral question. A person is going to ask you behavioral questions like the examples that I have given you. Okay. Or now see, would you prefer to learn something new by reading instructions, watching someone else, or by your own trial or method? See, a question with three choices. How would you prefer to learn? You cannot say, I do not prefer to learn with any of this. I don't want to learn anything new. Then why would he hire you? Okay. So through your answer, they assess what kind of a person you are. How are you willing to learn? Are you open to learn or no? Now, this is one of the important concept after adaptability that interviewers look at. Now, these three are on our India skills report, that is communication skills, adaptability, and learning agility. These three things, if you do not have these three things, then the companies are not ready to hire you. Now, some people say, now, as you have already talked about fluency versus accuracy, I may be fluent, but maybe I may commit some errors. Every company, after they hire you, they give you some training. Every training has, communication skills as part of it. Okay, so they train you. You might not be good at few areas, but over a period of time, you're going to come out of this. You're going to definitely become good at that. So, a learning agility is really, really important. So, I'll show you a video, and we will see how we make decisions when circumstances are constantly changing, and how do you handle this.
Finding yourself in a situation not knowing what to do, you basically have two options. You wait for a solution to arise, or you figure out how to solve the situation yourself. If you want to learn and adapt in constantly changing conditions, there are 5 crucial dimensions. Being curious and eager to experiment are essential in effectively learning from the discomfort of change. That's your change agility. Your mental agility shows when you're creating new ideas in order to expand your possibilities. Because of your self-awareness, you're also reflective. You know when help is needed to keep moving forward. Relating to and learning from other people shows your people agility. Your agility to get results is shown by your goal-oriented ambition and strong confidence in delivering results. And practice makes perfect. With these 5 different agilities combined, any situation is solvable because they empower you to quickly develop effective behavior based on any new experience. Use HFM Talent Index's Learning Agility Assessment.
Okay, so we have seen how many types of agilities are there, and where do we stand on what type of person we are. Now, moving on, we have seen what are employability skills. Now, coming back to How are we employed? Now we have learned what skills we need before we reach that interview that is important to us or that has been scheduled. There are so many candidates who attend interview only to see how an interview is conducted. They're not serious. So we will definitely know when a candidate is not serious. I will show you that very soon. So how much time does it take for an interviewer to select a candidate? Okay, because we do not have an option of introduction, I will give you the answer. So, first impressions really do count. More than 273 managers and 3,280 employees were asked about their interview experiences. So, according to a new research, how much time does it take for interviewers to decide whether this candidate is going to be right for the role? Takes 6 minutes and 25 seconds. In 6 minutes and 25 seconds, the interviewer is going to decide whether he is going to select you or no. So it just takes 385 seconds. So in those 6.5 minutes, less than 6.5 minutes, the candidate has to make a real good first impression to clinch that dream job. But if we talk about how much time does it really take, we will move on with it the next slide. So how did they know that it takes this 6 minutes and 25 seconds? A research was conducted by London-based monster.co.uk. They asked 273 managers and 3,286 employees about their interview experiences. You know what they said? They make up their first impression based on the dress, the makeup. Makeup is how does the person overall look like? And then more than 2/3 of employers said that they are immediately put off by tattoos. They just don't like tattoos. And then half of interviewers said they judge a candidate based on a handshake. So, how much time does it take to create a first impression? Now, this 6 minutes and 25 seconds is all the time that it takes for an interviewer to decide whether you are selected for the job. The remaining interview continues, it's a formality. But how much time does it actually take to create a first impression? 6 to 7 seconds. The minute a candidate walks into the cabin, we decide. The first 6 seconds, it just takes seconds to decide whether this person is good enough. The first impression is created within the 6 to 7 seconds. So that is all the time that it takes for a person to evaluate you in the first. Now, don't take this only for interview. It is any time you meet any new person. For that instance, the minute you must have seen me, today, you must have created some impression about me. Even before I opened my mouth, because the first 6 to 7 seconds, that impression that we get on a person is really, really important. And every person creates an impression about others the minute they meet. Now, how do we make this impression on a person? Appearance, body language, demeanor, mannerism, and their dress sense. So, they're very hard to reverse or undo. Now, once an impression is formed, it is forever. But it really takes a lot of hard work for a person to change that impression that has already been formed initially. That's why at an interview, we advise students to go thoroughly prepared. There shouldn't be a single reason why the interviewer should not hire you. You should be so well equipped, so well prepared, well dressed. Once the impression formed, It just takes another 24 seconds for assurance. So, in 30 seconds, the first impression is formed the first 6 to 7 seconds. Another 24, 25, or 23 seconds it takes to be assured that yes, he is the right candidate for the job. Watch a video and then you tell me.
Welcome to 30 Seconds to Impress. Did you know that studies have shown that the outcome of an interview can be predicted within the first 15 seconds? This means that when it comes to interviewing, first impressions matter. We gave our actors 30 seconds to play the role of a potential candidate. Based on first impressions, who would you hire?
Hi.
Hello, are you Anthony?
Yes, I am.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Lauren.
I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right, yeah, have a seat. I have your resume here. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you
The question for you is
okay.
your salary and vacation time.
Okay. Well, usually we discuss that later on in the process. Hi, come on in. Are you Marissa? Oh, hey, yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me today. Oh, you're very welcome. Have a seat. Okay, thank you. All right, so I have your resume here that you sent in, and I'm just going to ask you. Yes, oh my gosh, since I sent you that, I also done so much more. I've been volunteering, I even have a part-time job. It's just so great. Oh, well, that is fantastic. Do you have an updated resume for me? Oh, no, we can just talk about it. Oh, okay, all right. Well, let's get started then. Hi, come on in. Are you Krista? Good. Are you Krista? Yep. Okay, great. Have a seat right here. Okay, so I have your resume here that you sent in earlier. And so what's going to happen is I have some questions for you, and then at the end, you can answer some questions, and I will go through those. So let's get started. All right. Hi, come on in.
Hi.
Are you Todd?
I am Todd.
Hi, Todd. I'm Lauren.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Can I take you to have a seat?
Did you group me something?
I did. I have it right here. Thank you very much for sending it. We appreciate it. So I have had a chance to review your resume. And so what's going to happen today is I have some questions for you that I'd like you to answer. And then at the end, you're going to have a chance to ask me some questions.
Okay, great.
All right, so let's get started. Okay. Okay, Mom, I got to go. I'm in my interview right now. Yeah, right now. Okay, bye, guys. Bye. Hi, friends. Hi. Are you Caitlin? Yes, I am. Hi, I'm Lauren. You should have a seat right here. Okay. So I have your resume here, and I have some questions for you, and then at the end you'll get a chance to ask me any questions that you might have about it. Okay. All right, so let's get started. Hi, come on in. Hello, are you Steven? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Lauren. Come on in, have a seat right here. Okay, so since I have your resume here, you sent ahead of time. So what we're going to do is I have some questions for you, and then at the end you'll get a chance to ask me some questions. All right, so let's get started. Anthony comes in and he's already running late, which is kind of strike one. And then he hands me his portfolio so he can fix his tie, which is really quite awkward. I'm not really sure what to do with it. And then after I sit down and start explaining how the interview process is going to work, he interrupts me in order to ask how much he's going to get paid and how many vacation days he'll get, which is very inappropriate. And at this point, I don't even want to continue the interview. Marissa comes in and is obviously very enthusiastic to be there. She seems pretty friendly. A little bit over the top, but not something that would count her out entirely. However, then when I begin to explain the process, she interrupts me in order to tell me that she's done a lot more things that aren't listed on her resume. However, when I ask her for an updated resume, she doesn't have anything with her and says that we can just talk about it, which is pretty unprofessional. Vanessa enters the room, I can tell she is not with it. When I ask who she is, she says good, which makes me have to ask her again. Obviously, she was not listening the first time. Then, when she sits down, she looks all around the room and doesn't make eye contact with me at all. It seems like she really just doesn't want to be there or doesn't care. Also, her gaudy jewelry is really distracting. Todd makes a good impression right off the bat. He's dressed professionally in a suit and tie, and he shakes my hand firmly. When I offer him a seat, he asks me if I received his resume, which is fine. But the real clincher is that when I'm explaining how the process is going to work, he's looking at me, making eye contact, nodding, and I can tell he's really listening to what I'm saying. He might not be the most friendly candidate, but he's definitely professional. Caitlin enters the scene, and I'm not sure if she thinks I can't hear her because she's still in the hallway, but she's hanging up with her mom, which makes her seem really immature. Also, she's wearing a cute outfit, but it's really not formal enough for an interview. Then I notice she has a huge flowered bag, which she puts on the table, which is very distracting. When she sits down, she assumes a very relaxed position, and she starts sipping her coffee, and overall, she just seems way too comfortable. Instead of knocking on my door, Stephen pokes his head in shyly. Then when he enters, I notice he's wearing a polo shirt with an eagle on it. That's not quite professional, Stephen. Then he gives me a really limp dead fish handshake and sits down to start the interview. He crosses his arms in a really standoffish gesture and starts shaking his legs back and forth. I can tell he's really, really nervous, so I feel kind of bad for him, but that doesn't make me want to hire him. Based on what I've seen so far, Todd is the best candidate and gets the job. Remember.
All right. So we have seen what are all the do's and don'ts of an interview and what kind of people are hired. Okay, so how to crack that interview confidently? We are going to quickly go through all of these because I think we are approaching our time. So there's so many people who are well qualified and still are rejected at the interviews. You should ask yourself, what went wrong? Here are a few quick tips that we are going through because everyone knows all of this. Be punctual. Take a practice run. If you have an interview one day before and you do not know where the venue is, please go see that place, see how much time does it take, with traffic jams, without traffic jams, because you should always anticipate the worst. And the most important thing that people fail is wearing a smile on their face. I understand interviews make people nervous. Any age, even if you have given, 30 interviews so far, or how many ever interviews, still you get butterflies in stomach when you go for an interview. So it's not wrong, but try to be confident, wear a smile on that face because a smile does magic at the interview. Dress for the occasion. Don't be overly dressed or underly dressed. And confidence is one important thing. Be confident. Whatever you are answering, be confident. Forget whether you're answering correct or wrong. Forget whether it is apt or not. But your confidence is more important. As discussed already, confidence comes before communication. So do a little bit of research about the company because they do not want you to say, oh God, I didn't know you're going to ask this question. How am I going to answer this question? Or why should I know about the company? Because if you have gone for a job to work at that place, you should know about the company. Then be well groomed. When we are talking about grooming, you check whether some companies do not accept you going with a beard. You better be clean shaven or go with a trimmed beard. You know what I mean. Then your hair should be in place. All this etiquette, I don't think so. I need to explain. You all know how to create that impression once you step out of the house. The important thing is eye contact, which we have already seen in the video. a composed body posture, the way the person was selected, the way he was sitting. You cannot leave all your things on the interviewer's desk. You cannot be over, you cannot be at ease over there. It's not your house. You're not sitting on a couch watching a television. And answer to the point, like how the first person who walked into the interview, he said, "Can I ask about my salary and about the benefits that the company gives him, which is not good?" And avoid yes or no answers. The interviewer is there to judge you, your personality, your language, your communication, how outspoken you are. And if you just give an answer in yes or no, that's not going to suffice. And accept if you do not know an answer, and have good listening skills, which some people did not project. They intruded, they interrupted the interviewer's flow of speech, and then they had to say, until the interviewer says, "Yes, do you have any questions? Please do not say anything." And if they ask you questions, give crisp and answer to the point. And another important thing is maintaining personal hygiene. When we talk about personal hygiene, we are talking about the smell or the odor that our body gives out, or we are supposed to avoid strong perfumes. Now, why? I'll tell you. When a person wears a perfume, it mixes with the body odor, and the same perfume which was smelling good on your friend may not smell good on you, because perfumes, they get mixed with the body odor and then they give out the smell. So use deodorants, that is always safe. And then personal hygiene, more talking about personal hygiene, be very careful about this oral hygiene. When you talk in proximity to people, if we have a bad breath, or if we have something stuck in our teeth, or if you have chipped nail polish that has been half peeled out, it might be a minor thing, it has nothing to do with your hiring, but it creates that impression, stating how much care do you give yourself, or how much do you bother about yourself, how much do you worry about how people create an opinion about yourself. And another important thing, always be courteous to the receptionist and the staff. Many people, think that these are all small time jobs. It is very, very bad. Companies take opinion about candidates from receptionists and staff. Be courteous to everybody. Know who is going to interview. What are the timings? How does the company work? It's always better to get these details. And never take calls in the middle of the interview process. That's really very rude. Express gratitude, have the right attitude, be yourself. Now, there are so many candidate students who come, they flaunt a false accent. They try to suddenly start speaking like foreigners. That is not being yourself. If you really, I'm sorry, if you really want to flaunt an accent, you have to get used to it. Okay, so don't try anything new. Don't try any new dress or a new hairstyle or anything new, and don't try any new outfit during the interview, because you are not that comfortable with that attire or with that new thing that you have incorporated into your lives. Then another important thing that we have noticed even in the video was giving a firm handshake. A firm handshake projects confidence. So you extend your right hand. There's a gap between your thumb and your fingers. You clench the hand of a person firmly, shake it once or twice. Not more than that. Do not keep continuously shaking, and do not let go of the hand suddenly as if the job is done. A firm handshake gives. And as we have already seen in one of the previous slides, Interviewers decide whether to hire a person based on your handshake, and never chew a gum. Don't go thinking that you are going to look super cool at the interview because you're chewing a gum. And there are so many people who chew a gum because they want to hide, or they try that the chewing gum smell is going to dominate the smoking smell. Smoking, or the tobacco that you smoke, has a very pungent smell. No matter you chew a gum, you spray a deo, that has its unique smell, and the interviewer is bound to know. Even if he is a non-smoker, the interviewer will know that you smoked and came, which is a really bad thing. Okay. Oral hygiene, we already talked, stinking breath, smoking, avoid pet fiddles. Now, as we have seen in one of the previous videos, the person keeps shaking their legs. So there are some pet fiddles which unknowingly our body gives up, like tapping toes, drumming fingers, ringing fingers. There are some girls who always play with their hair. At an interview, there's not going to be any hair on your face. No hair on your face. Many people think leaving hair is a style. When you leave hair, it should be behind the ears. Okay, or it should be only till your jawline. It is not going to fall anywhere on your face, and people don't have to keep adjusting their hair. Okay, and the next thing is never invade others' personal space. Don't sit too close to the interviewer. Don't stand too close to the interviewer. You are intruding their personal space, which is not something good. That shows that we are not having that decent culture to respect others' privacy. Don't try a new outfit. We have already discussed. Avoid perfumes. Use deodorants instead. Maintain growing nails. This also I have told you. You can grow nails, but they have to be shaped. They have to be maintained well. No hands on the face. No hands like this. No hands like this. No hands on the face. And carry a proofread resume. Your resume with errors is unacceptable. And as I've told you, people like us, when we create resumes, it is your responsibility to know what is on your resume, because your whole interview, the questions that revolve around the interview, are mostly going to be from your resume. And greet the interviewer warmly. Okay, greet them with a smile. Say, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Okay, so we move on to something called sustainability. Now, what is sustainability? This is the last aspect for today. So, if we get a job, now we have crossed all this laborious work, and hook or crook, we have made it into the job. After a few years, people give up their job. They're not sustaining their jobs. Call it the problem that comes either from the individual or from the management, but sustainability is a very important thing. These top companies, the top 10 companies in India today, they are successful because they have sustained employees. Employees are ready to work, willing to work, because they love their work. And money is not a priority before work. When you love things that you do, money is never a priority. So wherein you want to contribute something to the world, contribute something to the organization, to the environment, it is a pleasure that you get. So as we have talked about intrinsic motivation. Now, if sustainability is a problem, it's an easy guess. In which country do people switch jobs frequently? It's a very easy guess. It is India. In India, people switch jobs very frequently. I do not know the reason, but maybe they do not know the value of a job, or whatever individual reasons they have. There's so many reasons. There are some genuine reasons which we can really consider. Now, a study was conducted in 2015, okay, by Michael Page, India Employee Intentions. And they came up with a report which tells that 4 out of 5 employees, that is 82%, have confessed that Indians switch jobs in the next 12 months. In 1 year's time, people are already tired of their existing job. And 73% of the employees, they have admitted that they have already attended interviews in the last 12 months. They have been already done. And they leave jobs. Indians leave jobs in less than 2 years. But let me tell you, Indians in the entire world, they are considered as one of the most efficient and hardworking set of human resources. Now you go to US, you go to UK, you go to Canada, you go to Australia, Indians are hired. Why? Because of their hardworking nature. Anywhere you go, you see a good set of Indians working there. They are hired very soon. But the problem is, they don't sustain for a long time. They don't hold on to their jobs for a long time. This is a problem that we think we have to come out of it. So, why do people switch jobs? These are some of the reasons. No scope for growth, lack of opportunities. They get so tired of doing the same job over a long time that they need a change, or they change jobs for better pay scales, better opportunities, or salary hike, promotion. But here again, research comes into the picture and says people don't want to change jobs. They just want to leave their managers. Now, let me tell you, these managers that we call them, brand them, that they are not so good, such people are found everywhere. Can we say that the new company that we are going to join has all the best people on earth who are going to take you into their arms and they're going to do a big favor to you? That's not going to happen. The world is full of such people. Maybe they have this kind of pressure. Maybe they are born like that. Maybe they are, that is their innate nature. But research says people want to get rid of managers, their bosses, their higher authorities, their upper hierarchy, and it is not the job that they want to leave. So this is one important thing which we should believe and realize, that such people are there everywhere. And we should try to become a change. We should try to bring a change. We should try to challenge that person's existence. If that person doesn't want you in that workplace, you should tell them that you have perseverance. What is perseverance? I'm going to endure things. I'm going to, stick on to things forever. And I'm not going to leave the job. Now we'll watch a small video on perseverance. Okay. Okay, so we have seen the top 3 reasons why Indians want to leave their jobs. So, what skills are really needed to sustain in a job? They are complex problem solving skills, You have a problem, challenge the problem, stick on with it, try to come up with a solution. Critical thinking. So we need to think out of the box, come up with an innovative way to solve that problem. Okay. And creativity and adaptability. Adaptability we have discussed again, and where we are ready to adapt to the situations, we come up with a creative solution to a problem. Negotiation and influence. All it takes is to do the talking, negotiate, speak, okay, and then you get your things done. Emotional intelligence, okay, so we need to have that. And perseverance. What is perseverance? Perseverance and resilience are really, really important. Okay, so I think this brings us to the end of the slide. What is perseverance? Why should people have perseverance in their life? Because problems are going to be
This is
there.
the story of an eagle. An eagle has the longest lifespan of its species. It can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, however, the eagle must make some tough decisions. In its 40th year, its long, flexible talons can no longer grab prey, which serve as food. Its long, sharp beak begins to bend. Its old, aged, and heavy wings, their thick feathers, stick to their chest and make it difficult to fly. Then the eagle is left with only two options: die or go through the painful process of change. The process requires that the eagle climb to the mountaintop and sit on its nest. There, it knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. Then the eagle will wait for a new beak to grow before it plucks out the talons. When the new talons grow back, the eagle starts plucking its thick, heavy feathers. And after this, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for another 30 years. Why is the change needed? To survive and live. We too have to start the change process.
So change is needed. So we need change to survive and to live. Whatever the situations, we should learn to come out of them successfully. That brings us to the end of our presentation. You are free to ask.
Dear participants, no, dear participants, if you have any queries and question and answers, please placed in question tab.
You can either put it on the chat box or you can ask directly. You can unmute yourself and ask directly. Okay. Okay. So uh, I guess there are no questions here. Either it is too easy, too simple to be understood. Either you have understood everything. I think some people face some technical glitches the way I read the messages. Okay.
I hope everyone is clear, madam.
I guess so, sir. Let's hope. Be positive about it
Yes,
and
yes,
think.
yes. See,
Yes,
we gave time to them, post their queries. But
yes,
there are two things, like whether they are understood clearly about
yes.
all these skills that required to sustain their employability, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Or if they didn't understand anything, then they are not supposed to pose any questions. Okay,
Yes,
there are two things. I hope it's positive, like they understood everything.
yes, and
Because we seen a lot of real time examples that we face every day. So
yes,
I think it's a wonderful session, madam. And before close the session, I just want to give a feedback on this session. Like it's wonderful, like and we really enjoyed a lot by seeing all these examples which we face real life. I hope all the participants have enjoyed their session. By spending one or 1.5 hour about on this session. So I hope it's clear for everyone. And I would like to say thanks to Rosie Madam for accepting our invitation towards to conduct this training program. Towards the webinar that we opted as part of unlocking the skills. Thank you, madam, once again for accepting our invitation,
it's a
and thank you to all the participants. I hope you all enjoy the session. Uh, and I request before close this session, I request all the participants to fill the feedback so that you will get it, e-certificate from APSSDC. Okay, and I hope we will conduct more these type of sessions with you, madam, in the future.
sure.
And uh,
Some students have been asking for some video links. Everything is on YouTube. The only thing it took is time to understand what video suits this session, and I have put it. Every video is there, and I think you can have a recording of this session also. I'm not sure. I think Ashok sir will talk to you all about it. But every video is available on YouTube. You can download any video, and if you're not aware of the technicalities involved in video downloading, you go to youtube.com, and before YouTube, press SS and click enter. And then it will take you to a download, another new window opens, and you can download any YouTube video. It is very easy. Okay.
yes, madam, we can also provide this recorded on YouTube,
Yes.
and request the participants to follow the things given by ma'am. I hope definitely this webinar may useful for their career as well,
Yes.
as part of unlocking the skills.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, madam.
I thank APSSDC for conducting all these sessions, and particularly a special thanks to Mr. Ashok and Mr. Sunil, who have been behind doing all this. They have been constantly in touch. They were so helpful. They're such sweet people, and all this is possible, I think, because of all their perseverance and hard work, which we have discussed in as one of the important aspects of employability skills. Thank you all once again, APSSDC, for creating such a platform for all these students, wherein sitting at one place, they're able to get all these skills. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure, madam. Definitely, I think these are the votes that given by the people who have experience on more experience. I
Yes,
think all the participants can follow the things given by madam, and hope it may use in your future for your better career opportunities. Okay.
yes,
And now once again, thank you, madam. And we will conduct such sessions in future for more. We'll definitely touch with you for conducting these type of webinars, madam.
sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you,
madam.
Murli, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Participants are requested to submit their feedback so that we will get it certificate from PSDC. Otherwise, you won't get it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye.